Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I am your friend Ashfaq. In my previous video, we had created one Azure Active Directory tenant and then we had added one custom domain into that tenant. In today's video, I will show you how to synchronize your local Active Directory domain to the Azure AD using Azure AD Connect. So let's get started. This is my on-premise domain controller. This is actually the virtual machine created on the VMware workstation, and my local domain name is virtualtechbox.com, and this is not routable over the internet. This is the local only. And in my previous video we have seen I'm having one more domain, virtualtechbox.tech, and this domain is routable over the internet, and we have added this domain as the custom domain to the Azure Active Directory tenant. I have logged into my domain controller using administrator account. I will go to server manager and I will open the Active Directory users and computers. I will actually create the two users. So my username is Windows admin. I will set the password. Next, finish. So this is the user we have added. I will add one more user. Windows user. So the logon name is Windows user. I will set the password for this user also. Next and finish. So we have added two users to our local Active Directory domain. I will again go back to server manager and now I will open the Active Directory domain and trust. I will right click on the Active Directory domains and trust. I will go to properties and I will add here the alternate UPN suffix. So I will add this public routable domain as the alternate UPN suffix. I will paste it here and I will click on add. Apply. OK. So the alternate UPN suffix has been added to my local Active Directory domain. I will now go ahead and create one more user, but we will create this user on the alternate UPN suffix which we have added just now. So you can see here in the drop down we are getting the another option also, which is the alternate UPN suffix, which is virtual textbox.tech. So I will add the user. Logon name would be virtual admin, and we will create this user on the virtual textbox.tech. I will click next. I will set the password. I will confirm the password. Next and finish. So this time we have created the one user virtual admin which is on the publicly routable domain. Now my domain controller is having two types of identities. One is on local domain and one is on publicly routable domain. So I will now go ahead and change the UPN for the users on the local Active Directory. For that I will use the PowerShell commands. This is the text file which is having the PowerShell commands. The link to download this text file I will provide you in the description. I will convert this text file into PowerShell. So I want to change the virtualtextbox.com users to virtualtextbox.tech. I will select these lines and I will run the selected commands. Okay, if I go to Active Directory users and computers and do the refresh here, And if I go to users, UPN for the users has been changed. Now I need to enable the TLS 1.2 on my domain controller. For that also I will use the PowerShell script, and link to download this script I will provide you in the description. I will open this script and I will run the selected commands. So the message is coming, TLS 1.2 has been enabled. Now I need to reboot my domain controller for the changes to take effect. I will close all the windows and applications and I will reboot my server. My server is rebooting. Meanwhile, I will go to Azure portal. I will go to Azure Active Directory. This was the tenant, Azure Active Directory tenant, which we had created, and this was the custom domain which was added to it, and this custom domain is the primary as of now. I will go to users. So these are the 3 users as of now present in my Azure AD tenant. I will go ahead and create one more user. Create new user. Username I will give as cloud admin, and the suffix should be virtualtechbox.tech. I will provide the name. I will create the password. I will set the location for this user. In my case, it is India. I will click on create. I will open the browser in incognito mode. I will go to Azure portal. I will log in to the portal using newly created user. cloudadmin@virtualtechbox.tech. This is my first login, so I will have to set the password for this newly created user. I will set the password. I will confirm the password. Skip for now. No. So I am able to log into the Azure portal using newly created user. I will close this tab and I will again go back to my Azure AD tenant page. So this is my newly created user. I will go to this user. Actually, I want to promote this user as the global admin to my Azure Active Directory tenant. So on this user page, I will go to assigned roles. I will click on add assignments. I will search here global. I will select the global administrator and I will click on add. So you can see here global administrator role has been assigned to this user. I will again log into my domain controller. I will open the browser and I will go to this link to download the Azure AD Connect. I will click on download. I will go to download folder. I will double click on it. I will tick here I agree, continue. Use express setting. Here I will provide the credentials of the Azure AD Global Administrator. Cloud admin @virtualtechbox.tech. I will provide the password. Next. Okay, now here I have to provide the credentials of the local enterprise administrator account. So I will provide here the username as virtualtechbox.com/administrator. I will provide the password for the same. Next. So you can see here it is showing the two domains. One is virtualtechbox.com, which is the local one, and this is the virtualtechbox.tech. It is the publicly routable domain. I will click here, continue without matching all UPN suffixes to verified domains. So note down one warning here. Users will not be able to sign into Azure AD with on-premises credentials if the UPN suffix does not match a verified domain. So the UPN suffix should match to this one, which is the verified domain for the all the users on the local Active Directory. In my case, it is virtualtechbox.com. So I will click here on next, and here I have ticked start the synchronization process when configuration completes. So as soon as the installation completes, it will start the synchronization. I will click here on install. So the configuration completed and the message is coming, synchronization process has been initiated. I will click here on exit. I will minimize the RDP. I will go to Azure portal, Azure Active Directory. I will go to users. So you can see here user count has been increased, which means on-premise users from the local Active Directory has been synchronized to the Azure Active Directory. So for the users which are showing yes below the on-premises sync enabled are the users which has been synchronized from the on-premise Active Directory. This user has been synchronized from the on-premise Active Directory. I will open the browser in incognito mode. I will go to Azure portal and I will give the credentials of that on-premise Active Directory user. Skip for now. We don't need to stay signed in. So here I am able to successfully log into the Azure portal using the credentials of the on-premise Active Directory, which means it has been successfully synchronized to the Azure AD using the AD Connect. I will close this. I will now create one new user in my local Active Directory. I will go to users, new user. I will give the name. virtual user 9 at the rate virtualtechbox.tech. Next, I will create the password for the user. I will confirm the password. Next and finish. Now if I go to Azure portal, Azure Active Directory, users, and if I do the refresh here, that newly created user is not available because the sync cycle for the AD connect is 30 minutes. So that user will be reflected here after the 30 minutes. If I want to replicate that user immediately, then I will have to go to my local domain controller and I will have to run this command in the PowerShell. So I will copy this command. I will open the PowerShell and I will paste this command and hit enter. So the command executed successfully. I will now go back to Azure portal and I will refresh here. And you can see the newly created user is available here on the Azure Active Directory. One thing I would like to mention here, that having custom domain is not necessary for the AD Connect. You may also have Active Directory tenant as abc.on microsoft.com and local domain as abc.local, and you can use the Azure AD Connect to synchronize the Windows Active Directory to the Azure Active Directory using Azure AD Connect. If you are having one user, local user on the Windows Active Directory as user3 at the rate abc.local, and use the AD Connect to synchronize your Windows Active Directory to the Azure AD, then this user will become user3 at the rate abc.onmicrosoft.com on the Azure Active Directory. By this way, you can synchronize your on-premise Windows Active Directory to the Azure Active Directory using Azure AD Connect. I hope you find this video helpful. A lot of effort went behind this video, so do subscribe to my channel to encourage my work. Like the video, share it with the friends and spread the knowledge. I look forward you to join me in the next video. Thank you.